TCG animes, something that's been around for as long as I can remember, actually probably around just after I was born. I mean, there was YuGiOh and a bunch of other stuff. But the real question is, are they actually good? Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, my name's Joe Schmo. What have I talked about? Changing my intro just for this. But yes, I am a YouTuber here. I am actually a avid card player. I play Weiss Schwarz, well, there you go. And I played YuGiOh, I played Pokemon, I played a bunch of different things. And there's a couple that I really still stick to this day. I played Cardfight Vanguard and play a bunch of other things. But the thing that I really want to sit here and talk about is not my history of playing TCGs, is the fact that there's anime about them, and some of them are really good, and some of them are okay, and some of them are really bad. So, I'm going to go through a couple lists. I'm going to give off examples of each one, from good, the bad, the ugly, and we're going to go from there. So, let's start with the good. So there's two that I would like to address, and these are two that really influenced how I got into TCG and really, enjoyed them. Let's talk about YuGiOh. Everyone knows about YuGiOh, and for those who don't know, I'm going to read you the summary of how it starts, and I'm going to specifically talk about the first season here. The story follows Yugimoto, a boy who completed an ancient Egyptian artifact known as the Millennium Puzzle, which leads him to inherit an alter ego spirit known as the Pharaoh. After defeating his rival Seto Kaiba in a card game of Duel Masters, which is the game Duel Masters in this universe, Yugi is approached by Maximilian Pegasus, the creator of Duel Masters, who uses the power of another Millennium item, the Millennium Eye, to kidnap the soul of his grandfather. Joined by his friends Joey Wheeler, Tristan Taylor, and Taya Gardner, Yugi enters Pegasus' Duelist Kingdom tournament in order to defeat Pegasus and get his grandfather's soul back. So it follows our boy Yugi and Joey, Tristan, Taya, all through these adventures where they fight against people playing Duel Masters. Now, the reason why I say this anime is good is because of the story that comes with it. It's every episode, there's a new match, there is something, and sometimes the match is going for 2 or 3 episodes, kind of like how DBZ carries on the fights. There's an actual overall arcing story that actually is compelling, and it gives you a driving force of the character. It says, hey, I need to go do this. I need to go save my grandfather, so I need to go around the Duelist Kingdom and collect these stars and get all these items so I can actually be useful. And in the process, it gets you an idea on how the game works. It's not as good as what the next anime I'm going to talk about, but it gives you a gist of there's different types of monsters, there's fusions, there's magic, there's trap cards, all these different things. Now, the original YuGiOh didn't really stick with the theme of, oh, this is a card game thing, we'll just do whatever. Like, not doing sacrifices, not doing this, that, and the third. Unlike later on, once it gets to, like, the YuGiOh GX and all that stuff, they follow into more of the actual rules. Especially even when they get into Battle City, which is the second season, they basically start emphasizing the rules more. So YuGiOh, the first season's more of a taster of how the game looks and feels. And then once you get into Season 2 of Battle City, and from there on out, you learn how to play. They teach you different archetypes, and they start teaching you, like, there's actual effects that take place. Now and keep in mind, they do bring in their own cards that don't exist in the anime, because that's just how it is. The same for the manga for YuGiOh. They bring up cards that never existed in actual play. But you still get to see the matches. You see how it's played out. You see they have life points. You learn the basics of the game, which makes this good. But let's talk about Cardfight Vanguard. Cardfight Vanguard is what actually got me into TCGs as an adult. I found this anime on YouTube randomly after high school, and I really sat down, I got really addicted to it for some reason. And they were very intuitive on how to teach you. Literally, the first episode, which I'll explain some of this, but the first episode, you get the main character who's learning to get into it himself. They teach him step by step on how to fight with the cards. They say, hey, you go from grade 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, and your goal is to get your opponent to 6 damage. Once they get to 6 damage, you win automatically. But let me talk about the plot of the anime itself. We're going to talk about the first season. Like I said, throughout all this, we're going to talk about the first season. Aichi Sendo, the protagonist of the show, is a timid young boy in his 3rd year's junior high school. One of the things that keep him going is his trading card Blaster Blade from Cardfight Vanguard, a trading card game that takes place on a different planet called Cray, and is popular throughout the world. When Aichi's Blaster Blade is stolen from his classmate Morikawa, he chases him to a local card shop known as Card Capital. There, Aichi has his first card fight with Toshiki Kai, an aloof cold-hearted high schooler who has outstanding abilities and who originally gave Izzy his blaster blade when Izzy was little. Izzy wins the fight, reclaiming the blaster blade, and begins to enjoy a fulfilling life as he develops and dives deeper into Vanguard itself. You follow Izzy as he grows up. This show builds up. There's a whole understory. There's psycholia, bottom. There's a whole lot of things. I really recommend you watch the anime. The thing that I really like about this anime, it shows character development of Izzy. He starts as a very timid kid. He's scared. He's just nervous all the time. As the show goes on, he gets more confident in himself. This game, he gets really into it. He really finds a hobby or something through this game that he really, really enjoys. And as you go on, you watch the show to get spoilers for the new set that's coming out. Because most of the time, the cards they show in the anime comes out for the actual game itself. And you can end up playing those cards. There's plenty of cards that you never see in the anime, but they hit the main staples every single time. They show different things. My favorite card from the set is Intergalactic Beast Seal. I love Zeal. He showed up one episode as a villain's main monster. Fantastic. What they do? They brought him onto the actual card game, and that was my main deck I ran for the longest time because I love taking power away from people and making them freak out because they got to put more cards. Point is, you can watch the anime especially every season. They reteach because they bring in new mechanics. So they reteach you how to play. Once season 2, 3, 4, whatever happens, they reteach you how to play, which is fantastic. So all I'm going to say is fantastic, really good animes. Now let's talk about the mediocre ones. Another card game that came from Bushiroad, which featured card Buddyfight. It takes place in 2030 in Choyo, Tokyo, Japan. Through the game Buddyfight, humanity is able to interact with the residents of another world. Buddy monsters. Chosen humans, known as Buddy Fighters, become buddies with a buddy monster to play the game. There are those who choose to use the buddy's powers for evil, but the buddy police puts a stop to these criminals. Gal Makoto is a student at Aibo Academy and is a very, very nice guy, even though he doesn't look like it. His life changes when he meets the son of the hero of the Dragon World, Drum Bunker Dragon, who's nicknamed Drum, that he drew from a pack one day in class. And there is how it goes out. This has a similar feel to how YuGiOh goes, and same for Cardfight. I mean, heck, they even do a cameo of Cardfight in the show. But as they go through, they teach you how to play. Now, this is more on the kidder side, more of the kid side of things. They do a very good job on how to explain, how to go through the mechanics and everything. Hell, I even did Buddyfight for a while there. But this was a close contender to the top list, but I feel like YuGiOh and Cardfight were the top contenders. This is an overall great thing. Just like Cardfight Vanguard, you can watch this and learn how to play. They have a good arcing story overall. They address a lot of issues in there within the world. Crime. They bring up crime, which is another weird thing but it's a kid show, so they got to keep people involved. They show the mainstays, and they show the side stays, and everyone has little different things. It's very interesting, and the fact that Bushiroad put it out, they knew what they were doing when they started introducing the game itself in the anime. So you weren't going to be left without knowing what to do. They would teach you step by step on how to play in the beginning. Because there's people that don't know how to play, so every season what they do, they re-taught. Fantastic. Buddyfight knew what they were doing. But in the United States, Buddyfight I don't believe Buddyfight's a go anymore. I think the game stopped. And I know the anime ended. Or I think the anime is still going. I'm not too sure about that. You can, Editor Kyle can put that up. But now let's talk about Duel Masters, which is one from my childhood that I think everyone forgot that in the back of their head. This was a TCG that I remember very, very young when I was 7 or 8 that was out and about, but it kind of died off here in the United States. The story centers around the card game Duel Masters, which revolves around 5 civilizations consisting of fire, water, light, darkness, and nature. The original storylines follow Shinobu, a young boy who likes to play Duel Masters. He and a few duelists are known to bring monsters on the cards to life in their duels. Shinobu engages in the game so that he can be the best duelist like his father was. Kinda like the Pokemon feel, gotta collect them all and be the best there ever was. That follows through. This did not explain the game very well, if I remember correctly. I went back and rewatched it. They don't really do. They showed the idea of, hey, there's a new episode coming out. by the way, this is actually going to be a card in the next set. I'm not sure if they followed that ideal. But overall, it was a very interesting story. It was basically following this young boy who's like, I'm going to be the best there ever was when it comes to this game, just like my father was. And it just follows that. That is literally the story. You follow him, he goes through these adventures, and he meet all these side characters, you meet all these cool monsters, you see all this stuff. Very simple, very straightforward. Not when it really comes to the game, though. I mean, maybe the manga might have, you know, a little bit of better way to do it. I know the video game did. They have a couple of video games that came out, and that teaches you how to play, obviously, because you need to know how to do it. But besides that, the anime really didn't bring home what you would need to. Now, we're going to talk about the horrible stuff. I'm going to start with Weiss Schwarz. I love this game. I love this game to death. But because they use copyright stuff, different, you know, IPs from all these different animes, you can't make an anime on it. But they did. What they did was they brought the character. What they did for the cards is they put the character themselves and projected it on there. They taught you how to go from grade 0 all the way to 3, and the person who gets the level 4 essentially, so level 3, 7 damage, loses. So they don't use any of the cards in the show for copyright reasons. They don't use any actual skills from the cards. I don't know why, but they had vanilla cards. They had everything you can think of the base game. But it doesn't really teach you how to play. It gives you the bare mechanics of, hey, there's 4 colors. Hey, there's levels 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, and you can only get a certain amount of damage. That's it. And they go off the rail with their own little side story. The main character's hitting on this guy. The anime is dog water. I think that's the terms young kids use nowadays. Dog water. It is not good whatsoever. And another one that I really want to talk about with this is chaotic. Hi there, Editor Joe here. So I just wanted to point out that I'm actually going through and rewatching the chaotic cartoon. It's not an anime, but it is TCG related, so I threw it in here. But I will say the cartoon doesn't really have anything to do with the card game. Like, it's the main basis, don't get me wrong, it literally is the game, but they don't tell you how it works, how, you know, you lose points in the card game, how it, just like any of it works whatsoever. So in that retrospect, it's horrible. But I just wanted to say, the show itself, pretty alright, and I'm going through and rewatching it. By the way, big budget jump between season 1 and season 2. Freaking ridiculous. It's all on YouTube, so feel free to check it out. But I know I unlocked something in someone's brain when I brought up those words. Chaotic was a TCG that they made an anime about. The anime literally had nothing to do with the TCG. It mentioned it and showed stuff, but it didn't teach you how to play. It just went in there and then did it. Let me read this synopsis for you. The TV show is based on the storyline of the original Chaotic TCG. The main protagonist is a teenager named Tom, who is friends with Kaz, whose friend constantly tells him of his adventures in Chaotic. Tom, who believes that Chaotic is only a card game, thinks Kaz is making things up, until he enters a password he received from the game, transporting him to the world of Chaotic. That's when Tom knew that Kaz wasn't lying. In Chaotic, he also met new friends, like the courageous Sarah, then the comedic relief Peyton, and new enemies, like the arrogant duo Clay and Crestella. Players in Chaotic go to Prim, scan new creatures, and use them in battle. In Prim, it's Perm. I think it's Perm. Here's how they spell it. Tom also got to meet many creatures, including his favorite, Maxor. And battles between players take place in dromes, which are virtual battles where players become the creatures they choose and fight for the right to battle against the Duel Master, the Code Master. And then from there, it develops onto the second season stuff, but it doesn't a whole bunch more. Basically, it touches on like the creatures, the battle gears, the attacks, the music, which is the magic, and the different locations. Stuff that they bring up in the show and use in the game. But it doesn't teach you how to play. It doesn't tell you that, you know, certain things can go on certain creatures. The whole 9 yards. The show was pretty alright. But overall, it does nothing to really teach you about it. And that's just, All I'm going to say is, when it comes to different animes, TCG animes specifically, there are the good, there are the bad, and there are the ugly. And the good that you really need to learn about are Cardfight Vanguard and the Buddyfight anime. So, that's it. That's me going on a mini rant session, have some pretty pictures showing up. Let me know what you guys think. Those are my stance. So, just a general overview. The good, YuGiOh, Cardfight Vanguard. The mid, Buddyfight, and Duel Masters. The ugly, chaotic, and the Y Shorts anime. Keep in mind, Buddyfight would have made it to the top, but I'm doing 2 per, and I still wanted to bring up Buddyfight. So, let me know what you all think, and, yeah, roast me down in the comments. Hit me up, roast me, and tell me what you guys think. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye!